Breaking: Magnus Carlsen just had a complete meltdown after getting destroyed by 18-year-old World Champion Gukesh. And what I discovered about their toxic rivalry will change everything you thought you knew about chess's biggest stars. Now, before we dive into this explosive drama, make sure you're subscribed because the tea I'm about to spill about Magnus Carlsen is scalding, and you don't want to miss what's coming next in the chess world. Let me take you back to December 2024, when Gukesh Damaraja shocked the chess world by becoming the youngest world champion in history at just 18 years old. At the time, everyone thought Magnus would graciously accept the changing of the guard, but sources close to both players are now revealing that Magnus has been seething behind the scenes, and his recent public comments prove just how bitter this rivalry has become. Here's what we know for sure. At Norway Chess 2025 in June, Gukesh achieved a stunning comeback victory over Magnus Carlsen in round 6. The official story is that Magnus simply made a tactical error under time pressure. But here's what they're not telling you. Magnus was so frustrated after the loss that he slammed the table before storming off, and multiple witnesses say his reaction was unlike anything they'd seen from the usually composed former world champion. Think about it, this is Magnus Carlsen, the man who's known for his ice-cold demeanor, completely losing his composure against a teenager. And it gets worse. According to Chess Insiders, Magnus made some absolutely brutal comments before the Super United Rapid and Blitz Croatia tournament in July 2025. He publicly called Gukesh one of the presumably weaker players in Rapid and Blitz formats. Now, you might be thinking this is just competitive banter, but wait until you hear this. Magnus made these comments knowing that Gukesh had already beaten him multiple times in these exact formats. This wasn't analysis, this was a psychological attack designed to get under the world champion's skin. Before I continue, I need to know, are you Team Magnus or Team Gukesh? Let me know in the comments because your responses to my last chess drama video were insane, and I want to see if the chess community is as divided on this rivalry as I think they are. But here's where it gets really interesting. The Croatia tournament wasn't just another event, it was Magnus' chance to prove his point about Gukesh being weaker in Rapid and Blitz. And what happened? Gukesh destroyed him again. But this time, something was different about Magnus' reaction. Sources at the tournament tell me that Magnus looked genuinely shaken after the loss, and he made a telling comment to journalists, "I'm not feeling the flow." Think about it, doesn't it seem suspicious that the greatest player of all time suddenly can't find his flow right when the youngest world champion is dominating him? And when you add the fact that Magnus has been making increasingly desperate attempts to stay relevant through his freestyle chess venture, suddenly everything clicks into place. And that's when everything changed. After Gukesh's second crushing victory over Magnus in July, the chess world witnessed something unprecedented. Magnus Carlsen, the man who dominated chess for over a decade, publicly admitting that he's struggling. But here's the part that nobody's talking about. Gukesh's former coach revealed in an exclusive interview that they've been specifically preparing for Magnus' psychological tactics. They knew Magnus would try to get under Gukesh's skin with public insults, and they turned it into motivation. The fallout was immediate. Chess fans are now questioning whether Magnus is becoming the bitter veteran who can't accept that his time is over, while Gukesh is being hailed as the mature champion who lets his chess do the talking. This could mean we're witnessing the complete changing of the guard in chess. If Magnus continues to lose to Gukesh while making desperate public attacks, it would explain why he's been so focused on creating his own freestyle chess league. He might be trying to create a format where he can still claim to be the best. And honestly, I think we're just seeing the beginning of what could become chess's most toxic rivalry since Kasparov versus Karpov. Now, I'm not saying Magnus is intentionally trying to sabotage Gukesh's reputation, but think about the timing of his comments. Every time Gukesh achieves something significant, Magnus seems to find a way to diminish it publicly. When Gukesh became world champion, Magnus questioned the level of play. When Gukesh started dominating Rapid and Blitz events, Magnus called him weaker in those formats. If this pattern continues, it would suggest that Magnus is using his massive platform and influence to undermine the new world champion's confidence and public perception. You guys have been asking me about this rivalry for months, and honestly, I've been hesitant to call it what it is because I didn't want to believe that Magnus could be this petty. Remember when I told you about the subtle signs of tension between top players? Well, as many of you predicted in the comments of that video, this Magnus Gukesh situation has exploded into full-blown drama. Your chess instincts were spot on, and now we're seeing exactly what you warned me about. But here's what really gets me fired up about this whole situation. Gukesh is handling this with incredible maturity. While Magnus is making public digs and having table-slamming meltdowns, Gukesh just keeps winning games and staying focused on his chess. The kid is 18 years old, and he's showing more class than a 34-year-old former world champion. It's honestly embarrassing for Magnus, and I think deep down, he knows it. So let me break this down for you. Magnus Carlsen, the greatest player of the modern era, is having public meltdowns and making bare comments because an 18-year-old world champion keeps beating him. Gukesh is responding by continuing to dominate and showing incredible sportsmanship. This whole situation shows us that even chess legends aren't immune to jealousy and ego, and sometimes the student really does surpass the master in every way that matters. What do you think really happened here? Is Magnus just being competitive, or is this jealousy and bitterness? Am I crazy, or is Magnus' behavior completely out of line for a former world champion? Drop your theories in the comments below because I want to know if you think this rivalry is good or bad for chess. And don't forget to subscribe because tomorrow I'm exposing the real reason why FIDE is trying to destroy Magnus' Freestyle Chess League. And trust me, when you hear about the money and politics involved, you're not ready for how deep this conspiracy goes. And if you want more chess drama, check out this video where I revealed the truth about Hans Niemann's mysterious disappearance from tournaments. The real story will blow your mind.